I don't really need this for you to hear me, but because we're doing the online thing, now we gotta hook up to the mic, otherwise they can't hear me online, so we're getting all technical around here, you know. Okay, give me 1 second, I want to make a note here for,
I'd like to show you
oh, that's good too, okay,
a
good.
place to go.
All right, cool. Well, welcome everybody to Wednesday Night Wisdom Share Sacred Practices. Every week we have someone different, some different kind of wisdom share and sacred practice. The whole idea, the vision for all this is to come have an experience, right? That we can have an actual experience. That's sacred. And so tonight we're going to be doing exploring the hero's journey. I'm going to tell you all about it. And so I'm looking forward to this. I'm so glad you're all here to be a part of that. And we're going to kind of do a little bit of a worksheet kind of process. So I'm going to give you a little work to do tonight, okay? I did want to let Jeff said there's some people online. We're on Facebook Live now and on YouTube. We're not doing the Zoom anymore. So just because of complications and trying to get that all to work together. It was just too much. So we're going to do Facebook Live and YouTube. So you can watch it later if you want to, or you can join from there if you can't, for whatever reason, make it in. You could see what's going on our Wednesday night wisdom shares. I did want to share, if you are online, what is it, on YouTube or Facebook, or both? On both. If you're online and you want to type in, you want to add to the chat when we're talking about something, you could always send that, and Jeff can put it up. You can tell Jeff you want to share it, and he can put it up on the screen. Okay? So then we could all see what you're saying. All right? You maybe tell Jeff your name if it's not on there. Okay. It is? Their names are on there? Okay, cool. All right, cool. So let's see, a couple announcements for this month. We have a wonderful month ahead of us. Every Wednesday night, we have, next Wednesday, we have the spectacular, infamous Jeff Kingfisher, right there behind the wizard behind the screen. But he is real. He's not a fake. He's going to be sharing the rhythm line. Jeff's going to explore the connections between sound and rhythm and sacred music and sacred dance through video clips and exercises and listening and movement. The laws of vibration are everywhere. Come and experience them consciously. Come and join Jeff. Do you want to share anything about that?
I think you just did.
Did I do a good job? Okay. Okay. That reminded me to write something about what I wanted to share tonight. So we're so excited. I mean, Jeff, I don't know if you've heard Jeff before or not. He's amazing. He's a composer, singer, songwriter, just brilliant, creative mind. He helps us tap into the soul. The following week, another amazing, unbelievably infamous person. I'm going to be sharing again. I was trying to find someone else to do it, but I couldn't. No, I'm going to be sharing on the Heart Sutra. I'm going to be taking some excerpts out of the book by Thich Nhat Hanh called The Other Shore. And it's basically about, being present is what I always share and teach, but in a very mindful way. And it's about being present with everything in each moment and learning how to have that as a mindfulness. So our life really is living that way. And so he's going to be talking about that. He talks about emptiness, and he says that emptiness and discovery is not nothingness. Emptiness is not nothingness. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're going to explore the true meaning of emptiness. And to me, and what I'm getting from Thich Nhat Hanh is that emptiness is just being present without all these thoughts into the future and ruminating about the past and all this emotional stuff going on 24/7. Carve out at least a little bit of time till we can create some space to be in that emptiness. And then if we can do that periodically as a daily practice, then we can weave it when we're having dinner with somebody and you're fully present with that person. Or if you're eating something, you can taste the beautiful flavors in a more conscious way. So, and then the following week, the last Wednesday, I'm so excited, and Reverend Eunice shared with me Gail Crosby. She's a friend of yours, yeah? Or some, oh, you just met her too, okay, but she's going to be doing something called Integral Wisdom, as below, so as above, so below, through the wisdom of integral wisdom, deep calling unto deep. And the truth seeker naturally hears and responds. Why? Universal laws, divine principles, ideas and ideals imprinted and operating this very moment in the great cosmos above are precisely reproducing and likewise operating in the moment, in this very moment, in us as humans. Each one of us is a little cosmos below. So the great cosmos is above, it's everything, the vastness of the universe, and that we are the below, we're the little cosmos. She's going to help us tap into that, and she has some wonderful practices to help us with that. So she's coming all the way from Yucaipa, so make sure you come and support her. It's the first time here too, so you want to make sure you have a good turnout. So tell all your friends, And I talked to her a few times. She has a beautiful garden, basically her ministry, basically. It's called the Green Valley Foundation. So check her out at the greenvalleyfoundation.org. All right. Again, our links to the Facebook and YouTube are right on the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, please let me know, and I'll make sure that you get on the list and you'll get the monthly newsletters. We give thanks for this amazing, beautiful spiritual community and all that it supports and shares for us individually and collectively, and ultimately for our community and at large. And so we support our community through our loving love offerings and tithes. So we really appreciate that. I'm always amazed at how we made it through this last year with the pandemic and everything going on, and how well we did through the conscious giving. So we always say, give at the level of that you received, so think about that. And then, but you can text to give at 760-389-1333, 760-389-1333. And then you just type in your dollar amount, and then after you do that, you just type in the word wisdom, and that's for tonight. You could also go to csl.org, and you can get all the information on there. All right? So I'm so excited to be here with you all. Any other announcements? Did I forget anything? Don't forget to come on Sunday. Reverend Eunice is going to be speaking on Sunday, right? Yeah. What are we speaking about? Do we know yet?
It's
What?
all about
Transformation.
and journey.
Oh, so we're going to be
Yeah, vision pulled by vision.
pulled by the vision
Yeah.
about transformation.
Also, I'm going to start a class in 2 weeks.
Oh, we're starting a new class. Okay.
Yeah,
What's it
it's
called?
Living the Life of Your Dreams.
Living the Life of Your
It's real
Dreams.
short, succinct,
How long does it go? What?
5 weeks.
5 weeks? When's this? What day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
A week from Tuesday.
What time?
6:30 to
6:30 to 8:30. Cool. Yeah, we'll look forward to that. Of course, you can find all that on the website too. So, all right. Well, let's start with a little centering practice, and then we'll get into the movie or clips of the movie. We're not showing the whole movie tonight. We showed the whole movie last week, so we're just going to show clips tonight.
Do you want me to turn down the light?
Yeah, you can turn off those fluorescents on that side. Yeah, that's good. All right. It's always nice to take a few moments to get settled and centered. There's so many things to think about when you're getting this stuff all together here. All right. Let's take a few conscious breaths. Just noticing our body sitting here in this particular chair we find ourselves sitting. In this moment right here, right now. Just feeling our own body breathing as we give thanks for this breath that's been breathing us since the day we were born. As we take a few conscious breaths and just give ourselves permission to stop everything and to be here now. Noticing the rise and the fall of our body with each breath. If anything at all happens to be bothering you today, in any level or any way, just imagine setting it outside the building for now. You always pick up whatever you need to pick up or take care of later, or work on whatever you think you need to work on later. But for now, we're going to let all that go as we carve out this little bit of time this evening to just be here now, be present in this moment, breathing this breath. As we quiet and still our mind, we align with an inner sanctuary of peace. An ancient peace that's always here underneath the chaos and busyness and distractions of the world. Under the busyness of our own mind, there is this peace. that is fully present in this moment. And within this peace, there is a wisdom, an infinite wisdom, a wisdom that is in and through all of life. The ancient wisdom of the ancestors has been passed down through the generations. We open up and tap into this wisdom. We open up our mind, our heart, to receive now. We open up our soul, that part of us that doesn't have to prove anything or defend anything to be who we are, our true self. Right where we are in this moment, sitting here in this spot, wherever we are. On some levels, right where we're supposed to be at this particular time, at this particular point on our path of life. The culmination of all of our life experiences have brought us to this moment, sitting in this space, together with each other in this sacred circle, this sacred space. Just noticing the rise and the fall of our body as we breathe. In this place of alignment with this peace and wisdom, we open up ourselves to the conscious listening, to observing our body sitting here in this moment, in whatever spot we find ourselves sitting. And right now that I said that, we became conscious that we're observing our body sitting here in this particular spot and posture, position. We could observe our body breathing right now. Just feeling the rise and the fall of our breath. This breath has been breathing us since the day we were born. Right now we're conscious that we're observing our body breathing. So we're observing and we're conscious that we're observing. We can observe the thoughts that come and go, the stream of thoughts that move through our mind right now. We observe these thoughts as they move through our mind and practice to observe them without following them too far, judging them. And just observing our thoughts, and right now, we're conscious that we're observing our thoughts. Observing, and we're conscious that we're observing our body, our breath, our thoughts. And noticing our emotional state, our emotional body. Just noticing where you've been today in your emotions and where you are right now, observing our emotions right now. And right now we're conscious that we're observing our emotions. We have a wide spectrum of emotions, some that are wonderful and joyful and beautiful and calm and peaceful, some that are disturbing and scary and angry and disturbed. We have a wide spectrum of emotions, fear and confidence, love and loss. We could observe our emotions and be conscious that we're observing our emotions and honor them all. They're all telling us something, to pay attention, to listen. They're guiding us in each moment. And so we practice observing our emotions without judging them. We're trying to make the ones we don't want go away. We're listening to them in a conscious way. What are they trying to tell us? As we quiet and still the mind, we align in the vibration of peace. An ancient peace that's always here. And within that peace, there is a wisdom. Just taking a few conscious breaths now as we slowly begin to bring our attention back to where we find ourselves sitting, back to the space of the room, and back to each other. Nice little peace practice to get us in alignment, right, with a depth of inner wisdom, right? That's always here, right? Within each of us equally, actually. If it gets covered up, though, right? The peace gets covered up. Our projections and get covered up. So what I love about the hero's journey is it's an epic journey that we're all on. It's telling the same story, It's like I shared last week. Those of you who were here watched the movie. It's the story that's within every story, with the ancient Greek mythology and the stories of the Bhagavad Gita and Hindu stories and the stories in the Bible and the Quran. All these stories, these ancient stories, all are telling the same story. And then you trace it all the way back to today. It's in Harry Potter, and Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, and The Matrix. It's all telling the same story. They have to get lost before they can be found, So I'm going to share with you some excerpts tonight, and then we can talk about them a little bit. And I'm going to have a little process for us to work on and work through. So. Let's see, instead of telling you all the stories, I'll let you see some of them on the video, okay? So I'm going to let Jeff play our first clip. That was the one that starts at 13 seconds, the Buddha one. Yeah. this was happened in Thailand. I guess they had this beautiful golden Buddha, and they had an army coming to take over their land, and the monks didn't know what to do, and they didn't want them to destroy their golden Buddha, and so what they did was they wrapped it and then covered it in cement and concrete, and sure enough, when they came through, when they took over that town, they left it alone because it looked like a big piece of rock, so they didn't do anything to it. Well, hundreds of years later, there was a monk sitting at the foot of the Buddha and doing his chants and prayers, and he saw a little piece of the concrete had fallen off, and he saw that there was this shimmering golden light, and he went and ran and told everybody, "Oh my God, the Buddha is golden, the Buddha is golden." But the people of the area, the land, had forgotten that it was gold. And so they busted it open, there it was, revealed the golden Buddha. So the myth of that story is that the golden Buddha is within all of us. It just gets covered up. But something has to break up for it to actually open. For us to actually open. The golden Buddha is the symbol of that, is our pure self, our true self, the gold within us, our potential, our power. It's already within us. But sometimes it gets covered up and we don't think we have it. So that's the story of the golden Buddha. I think I did a pretty good job. I don't know. Hope it made sense, right? It does. We do get covered up, and then the whole hero's journey is about discovering that, getting covered up, cracking open, everything falls apart. There's a little slide of the. Did you get that slide of the hero's journey slide, Jeff?
A simple one?
Yeah, just a simple one's fine. Yeah. So in the hero's journey, that's it right there. In every movie, every epic story, it's the same thing. Separation, initiation, return. Separation, initiation, return. They're all telling the same story. So separation is like in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. So why don't we show that clip? That'll help explain a lot. Let's see if I got the right times on that one. Huh?
Dorothy had to confront her inner barriers. And so the journey she went on was not just a journey to find out how to deal with the Wicked Witch of the West. It was how to deal with her own inner resources, how to claim her own inner resources. And at the end of the movie, how did she get back home? Well, she clicked her heels together. So she had it all the time, the ability to get back home, but it didn't get mobilized for her until she went through all of those challenges and was able to kind of test herself.
So you can see that what happened in the beginning was separation, right? Everything fell apart. Her whole world got turned upside down. She was sitting there hanging out at the farm with Toto and Annie Am, I guess, right? Right? And this tornado comes down and turns her whole life upside down. Where does she end up? In another world. Doesn't know where she's at. What's going on here? The confusion, fear. Where am I? What's going on? The universe upends us when it's time for us to step out into the world in a different way, to find our true self. And so what happened to Dorothy, she ends up in this place called Oz, right? And what happened while she was there? She ran into some characters, didn't she? Who'd she run into? Huh? Parts of herself. But what? Who'd she run into? The Wicked Witch of the West. The Good Witch. That's the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, right? So she's meeting all these characters along the way, and she's also running into the flying monkeys. And nobody wants her to. Even the trees are throwing apples at her. She doesn't feel like she's supposed to be there, right? But she's facing her all this stuff, and as she's going through, what is she finding? Courage, her heart, the wisdom, the intellect, the wisdom, right? And all in an effort to get her to face her greatest fear, the dragon. But in this case, it's the Wicked Witch of the West, right? And of course, everyone's telling you better watch out for the Wicked Witch of the West, Wicked Witch of the West, right? They're telling you better, and so she's so afraid, everyone's so afraid that she's going to kill everybody, right? And so that fear that she had around that, all part of the initiation, was all the fears and all the flying monkeys and all the stuff that was going on. But it was preparing her to meet the Wicked Witch, to build that strength, to fight her greatest fears, right? Then what happened, right? Well, they keep telling her she's got to go to the wizard. She ever wants to get back home. She wants to return, right? That's the third part of the hero's journey. Separation, everything falls apart. She has to go through this initiation, facing all of her fears and oh my God, But along the way, she had helpers. You can show that next slide. Along the way, she had helpers, right? She had helpers. She calls them magical helpers. But she also has to face the belly of the whale. She has to face she's entering the cave, the dark shadow, right? And so she's going through all that stuff, so it's all right there. Right there. This is actually from the excerpts, by the way, I forgot to mention this. This is from the excerpts of the documentary movie called Finding Joe. I forgot to mention that, Finding Joe. But anyway, so she's going through all that stuff. She has helpers, and she's also facing her greatest nemesis. And, what did they say when she was on the way, those little, I think they call them Munchkins or something, on the way to the Yellow Brick Road? What were they called? What were they singing?
Munchkins.
What were they singing? Say it again. A little louder. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road. The guides came too. So she's facing these great challenges, but she also has the guides. People are showing up. People are to help her, right? And so at some point she's tested. She's facing her greatest fears, and she meets the Wicked Witch. And everything she had gone through up until that moment had prepared her for that moment. Had prepared her to have the strength, the wisdom, and the knowing to face her greatest fears. So she conquers the Wicked Witch by throwing a bucket of water on her, right? What a nice way to conquer somebody. Then she returns. And what is return? Well, I'm sorry, before she even does that, she has to go to the wizard now, right? So she gets to the wizard. They're all telling her, go to the wizard. Everyone thinks that the wizard's going to have her answer, right? Where's she trying to go? She's trying to get back home. Now she's on her way to return. She's trying to get back home. And so on this journey, this epic journey of her life, she finally meets the wizard, the person who's going to help her, the one person in the whole Oz that can help her, that they've been going for the whole time, conquering all that stuff and finding herself along the way. And she gets there, and what happens when she meets the wizard? He's a farce. He's not even real. He's a big show. He's a big illusion, right? And so what happened? She finally had to realize what happened after that when she realized that he's a fake. How did she get back home? Oh, Glenda helped her too, right? Yeah, Glenda kept guiding her, saying, it's within you, right? It's always within you. She didn't need the wizard because it was always within her the whole time. All she had to do was what? Click her heels, right? All she had to do was click her heels, and she could go back home. But she had to go through that epic journey. She had to go through it. If she hadn't gone through it, she wouldn't have never known that all she had to do was click her heels. So the same story. Now she goes back home, and she's there to what? Share. The return is sharing her story, sharing what she learned on the journey to bring it back home. And really what it is like the Golden Buddha finding herself. She found herself, her true self. If you think about the Golden Buddha, it's covered up with all that concrete. What does that represent? It's a metaphor. All of our stuff that thinks we need to be something more than we are right now. That somehow I'm not enough, somehow I don't measure up. If that person over there would tell me, then I would finally get where I think I need to go. But it's all an illusion. And we don't even know that. While we're in initiation, we don't know on some level, So she finally makes it home, and she's going to share. Now, she's not just going to share her story. She's going to share her truth. She's going to share her soul. She's going to share her gifts and talents and qualities and attributes that she cultivated because she went through the initiation. Like she had to go through that challenging times and face her greatest fears to prepare her to be her true authentic self. We all have to go through that journey. And that's why when you go see a movie, you relate to the movie. You're somewhere in that hero's journey. That's why those parts that really stick out when you're watching a movie, like, oh, maybe I should be stepping out in a greater way, you know? I was watching this movie, and I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, I need to hear that. And it was my fears about standing out. I have this fear sometimes. I don't really particularly care. No, not talking about you online, but I don't really want to be online. I like my little comfort of just having a few people. I don't like being so vulnerable that God only knows who's going to see this, right? I hope they like me. But that's just a fear, right? It's facing some of my fears. So stepping out and standing out, putting myself out there, the universe is always conspiring for us to grow and to continue to expand. This is the hero's journey. We're always being asked to expand and to grow. And if you're not, something will shake up and everything will flip upside down again. So he says, listen, somewhere in this movie he says, listen. That's why I started this afternoon, I just started this with the conscious listening. Conscious listening. It's important for us to listen in a conscious way, not an unconscious way. So much of our listening, so much of the thoughts that move through our mind are unconscious. We're thinking 24/7, we're not thinking about the fact that we're thinking. With all these emotions and disturbances going on, we're building huge stories around, but we're not really thinking about the fact that we're doing that, and it's happening all the time, right? So we could stop, take a few breaths, and listen, right? What is life telling you? Are you bored? There's some great fear that it's something you really want to do, but you're so afraid if I was to step out, oh my God, what's going to happen? You know? Life's asking you to move somewhere or to take that job or take that class or go volunteer somewhere, whatever it is, right? And we're afraid. It's okay. Fear is okay. Fear is actually an indicating factor that that's the direction you should grow. I found that out of and if you start to listen to that fear, oh, that fear about public speaking, which I used to have horribly, like I used to be paralyzed. Kim's heard this story. Paralyzed. I used to get paralyzed when I went to speak in front of people. I couldn't even do it. My hands would clamp. I would sweat. My throat would clam up. I couldn't even talk. I had to go through 2 years of therapy and improv classes and all kinds of stuff to get through this fear of talking in front of people. Oh my God, it was horrible, you know? But that fear was asking me to follow it, to step in and to acknowledge that it was, listen to it consciously, you know, little by little, little by little. I'd have to, you know, and before you knew it, I realized, looking back on it, that the fear was actually there for me to listen to and to move through it, not to run from it. This is all part of in every great epic movie, the same thing, right? Every epic story, same thing. True? Does that sound accurate? Okay. All right, so we got that. So, Jeff, you want to show I don't know what the next clip is. What's the next one? Did I cover this already? Oh, yeah, perfect. The tiger and the sheep.
Once upon a time in the forest, there was this little tiger cub amongst a flock of sheep. And he ate grass, and he wandered around with the sheep. And when he tried to say anything, all that came out was a sort of little meow, not much of a roar. And one day, through the forest, comes a large male tiger. And he's just about to pounce on the sheep, and he sees this tiger cub. And he says, "What are you doing here?" And the tiger cub goes, "Bah." Picks the tiger cub up by the scruff of the neck, and he carries him over to a pond, and he puts his face over, and he says, "Look, see that face? You're not a sheep, you're a tiger." the male tiger says, okay, we need to do something. And he slays a sheep and he grabs a big hunk of raw meat and he shoves it in the little tiger's mouth. And the little tiger gagged on it as all do on the truth. But it went down. And he got a little bit of energy, and pretty soon he had a bigger tiger roar. And eventually he had a full tiger roar and he went off with the male tiger. I think the moral here is self-evident. If you're a tiger living among sheep, you're a pretty poor specimen of a tiger. And we are all tigers living among sheep. We are all individuals with a self that we don't even begin to understand. And unfortunately, if you can open the metaphor out, the food we get from the culture around us is maybe food for sheep. It's not food for tigers.
Interesting, right? So what does that mean? It's a metaphor, right? It's not necessarily food, it's a metaphor.
I think it means that we get indoctrinated.
A little louder.
We get indoctrinated in society to not look at fear, not look at our feelings, and think that the answers are out there.
Yeah.
In materialism, and be lover, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But once we realize all we have to do, we don't need anything. It's all within us, like the golden Buddha. We just have to clear away all the stuff and find it.
Yeah.
And that's really empowering.
Yeah. We're being told who we are, who we're not, who we should be, who we shouldn't be. If you just do this, then you'll be good enough. We compare ourselves to all this social media and advertising telling you, hey, if you go here, you'll be enough. If you look like this, if you accomplish this, then you'll be enough. And then we build huge stories around that, right? That aren't true. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time thinking about that this week.
A little louder, so I can.
I said I spent a lot of time thinking about that this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I still didn't get the same message. Because part of what I thought about was what it's saying is I wasn't being my true authentic self.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
like
it.
the same thing?
Yeah. We don't know it until the tiger comes along, Reverend Eunice comes along and says, hey, you're perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are right now. There's nothing wrong. There's never ever been anything wrong with you, except for the story you told yourself. That's the only thing that's wrong with you. Right? And it's the wisdom coming and shaking you up a little bit, saying, hey, you're not who you think you are. I deal with this all the time and working in addiction treatment centers.
Usually not an easy process. It's
What's that?
depression, it's all these different things that look like trouble that wake us up.
Yeah, and it can cause depression when you're being somebody you think you're supposed to be and you're not that, because it's not who you are. It's not even true, but you think you should be, and then it causes all kinds of disturbances. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so Mark, the Dark Night of the Soul
Mm-hmm.
is the same as the hero's journey?
Yeah, well, it's a part of it. It's not the same. I think it's an aspect of the hero's journey. We go through that. We the belly of the whale.
I'm lost.
Yeah, everything falls apart. We don't know, midlife crisis. We get into that stage where we don't know who we are. What's my purpose? Why am I here? But that's actually a part of the initiation, so it's not a bad thing. One of the things I was sharing this week, part 2 of the hero's journey was about gratitude. What if we can see our entire past, everything that's happened up until now, and see it all as our great teacher? The love and the loss, the wonderful things, the beautiful things, my accomplishments, the successes, but also my screw-ups and failures. Or maybe I hurt somebody or somebody hurt me, not condoning anyone's bad behavior. I'm not saying that. Be clear on that. We're not trying to condone anyone's bad behavior, but we've been through stuff, haven't we? We've all been through shit, right? Every one of us. And those kind of adversarial teachers. I know when I look back on my life, some of the people were so hard on me and so mean. When I look back, I said, they made me find my voice, even though they were still a jerk. right? But they made me find my voice. They made me step out and say, hey, that's not working for me anymore. But I didn't have that voice before that happened. So I had to go through that initiation, you know.
Even Dorothy had
So,
that overwhelming gratitude for, you know, I didn't appreciate what I had. You know, I'm so happy to see you, Auntie, you know.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
she didn't realize it, yeah.
So she came back with that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't realize what we have. We forget to be grateful
Yeah.
for where we are, all of our experiences.
Unbelievable.
Not grateful that we like it all,
Right.
but grateful that we're honoring it. We can honor our past and all of our experiences. Now, what if I told you that after tonight's gathering, you can no longer beat up on yourself about your past,
I love that.
right? Now, you could look at it and say, hey, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. That'd be wise, right? We want to do that. That's conscious living. But we don't have to say, oh, something's wrong with me because what I did or didn't do, or they did the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? Yeah, Reverend Eunice?
I was just gonna say, Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's one of my mentors, used to say, that we serve apprenticeships. If you want to learn to be a plumber, you become an apprentice.
Yeah, apprentice.
And the journey, the hero's journey is your learning curve. You know, that's a whole different mindset than
Yeah.
saying, I am broken, I need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And most of us in the Western culture have this identity that, oh, I'm broken to smithereens and I gotta be fixed.
Yeah.
No, we are just learning to be who we are as one would study to be some profession. We're serving an apprenticeship called this lifetime. And, it kind of puts you into a more empowering position.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm grateful for this.
it's a apprenticeship, right? This whole initiation phase
It's an apprenticeship.
is part of our apprenticeship. So what if we can't make any of it wrong? It's been teaching us something all along, you know. I'm going to pass out. Can I have a helper or two? And just pass out some of these, and then if they need something to write on, and a pen. There's pens here. Grab a handful of pens, and then something to write on. Can you get ready to show that next video? Is that the last one, Jeff?
We have one, a very short one about stretching, another one about facing your fears.
Okay. We'll just, let's just show the next one.
Joe Campbell describes the dragon as being a beast covered with scales, and on every scale it says either thou shalt or thou shalt not. So this beast is a construction of all of the rules, regulations, social obligations, cultural accretions that have made you feel that you either have to or can't do certain things.
So that's facing our demons, right? It's in every story, in every epic, you've got to face them and conquer them at some point. And the next thing is about fear, but I don't have time to share. You kind of get the gist, right? We have to face our fears. We already talked about that. So I gave you a little handout, a little worksheet. And on this worksheet, I want you to just pick. It could just be one thing. It could be an event. You lost a job, separation, change, something fell apart, right? That's the first thing. The next thing is, so share what happened, what changed. Maybe it was a divorce, some illness, some thing that flipped your world upside down. Okay, and then the next thing is the initiation. What were the challenges that you experienced during that time? Maybe a little bit before that time. Quite often, the initiation is starting before you actually have the separation. Something's already going on before that breaks, right? And so write down what were your challenges, some of your challenges, and we should have that. Oh yeah, he's got, thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff's amazing. We have it up there for those of you who are online. And then, of course, the third thing is the return. The return is, what did you learn? What were your lessons? What did you learn from your experience, from this journey? Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Just write, keep it simple. Make a list, or however you don't have to write the epic story right here. We only have 10 minutes anyway. Anybody have any questions about that? Does that make sense? Yeah? We're all good? Okay. Kind of let yourself just write kind of the outline of it. You don't have to write the whole thing. Just, but you can write down like a little list of what were the challenges, what were the. a few more minutes or a couple more minutes? Everyone ready? You could always add to it later, by the way. You could take this home with you. The interesting thing about the hero's journey is it keeps happening over and over again. You don't just get there one day, you know? And, but it gets easier. I can honestly say, it gets easier when you understand what's going on, you know? When I had no idea why my world was falling apart, you know, I had no conscious awareness around it, you know? So as we start to become more conscious listeners, giving gratitude for our entire experience up until now, or at least honoring it, right? You can take the wisdom from it. So, who wants to share? We have time for some shares of your epic journey. Yeah, you want it?
I'll
Okay.
share. Hope I did this right. My separation is my husband leaving me and my marriage being separated. My
Go ahead. Oh wait, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Jeff has a little mic for you. Do you mind using a mic? Yeah.
Hello.
No, it's not on. Wait. Oh, he's gonna go turn it on. We're still figuring all this out. It's our first time doing it live.
Hello.
Oh, it's on. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can talk.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, just.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
There you go.
My separation was literally my husband leaving me
Mm.
and being separated in my marriage for the first time after 30 years. My initiation is trying not to live in the past or constantly live in fear about the future, and learning to live day by day without my husband being there 24/7. And my return is learning to live by myself independently.
Mm.
Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. Yeah, yes, exactly. Right? And all that you went through prepared you to finally step out, and even though it didn't feel like it at first, maybe, right? Oh, yeah. You had to go. Yeah, exactly. So you might be still kind of an initiation. You're still trying to figure it out, you know? Yeah, so, yeah, that epic journey. Anyone else that ever happened to? Not maybe that it's exact the same way, but right? Not the exact way, but we had our separations in relationships, yeah. And you know what, I mean, you're growing in leaps and bounds now because of that, on some level, right? Whether you like it or not, right? Right, on some level, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? I could pass the mic. I'll pass the mic. Just hold the mic close to your mouth.
Okay. All right. So mine has a lot similar story is, my world kind of imploded after my kids got grown. I had all the distractions of, you know, raising children and working and doing all that stuff that, the nuclear family or,
Yeah.
the white picket fence kind of life. And after they left, I had realized that, I had gave so much of myself to everybody else that there was nothing left. And it was so apparent, after there was all the distractions were gone. I mean, they literally, he put me in a position to where it was just me.
So that was a separation.
Yeah,
And now
completely. And then
the
so
kids
that
left.
was full
Everything. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the fear, the deceit, the anger, the disbelief, the loss, the shame, the guilt. Because I was the wizard, I was the farce. That's what I.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what
So
I
that was all
told
part of your
myself.
initiation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because all that was a joke now.
Right.
And then so my comeback story had a lot to do with just being willing to seek help and to try to live and think differently by empowering myself through other people and asking for that help. And I really I can now today use that past and look at some of those things as my greatest teachers today, which I never believed I would be able to do ever. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so now you get to share because of what she's been through now, even in the work she does now. You know, you're sharing, she's you're a caregiver, you know, and so all that prepared her for this. Because she, you know, it's a part of you know, raising kids, all that stuff. And then when it all fell apart, then now you found your true self. Now you found you're the tiger. You're not the lamb.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with lambs, by the way. Someone asked me that earlier in a group. Oh, well, what if I was a lamb? Does that mean everyone else is a lamb? And I said, no, you're missing the metaphor.
That's a tough metaphor for vegetarians.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but that's what tigers eat, you know. Whether we like it or not.
I was okay.
But the metaphor, somewhere in the movie he says that our culture is metaphorically impaired. It's hard for us to not take it literally. Anyway, do you want to share? Go ahead.
Well, I just
Put the mic right by your face, right by your mouth.
Right by my face. All right, so separation. So after 30 years of a life in addiction, culminated in getting my ass thrown in jail. And
separation.
And upon release from that, I was homeless, jobless, no partner, and now I had this huge impediment, having a record, you know, to my moving forward, right?
So now you're labeled, you got all that stuff going on with that, you feel like you're unworthy, okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. So then, so initiation, so, you know, it began with that, my first day free. That night I knocked on a man's door, who had some 19 years of sobriety and was a friend of mine. And he took me to my very first AA meeting. And that set up the ball rolling. And next, you know, so I get introduced to meetings. Then I'm, start to build a community. I find a solution to my problems, whereas my old solution was drinking and drugging. And, you know, that solution led to, you know, working the 12 steps, which, you know, led to ultimately achieving a life that I hadn't heretofore even dreamed of.
Right.
So
now you're sharing.
And so now, and so here I am sharing, you know, and you know, having sponsees and sharing in meetings, and you know, it's a miracle. It's a miracle where I am today.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's definitely and what was amazing and something you just said, you know, once you've been through it, the next one's easier. You know, moving here to be with Danny, that was my next journey. You know, that was the next time I had to step out of my comfort zone. I moved 1,300 miles to a place I'd never lived before, but because I'd done it before, I wasn't nearly as afraid. I wasn't.
Yeah. That's wisdom,
I didn't
right?
hold back. I just
little
went.
wisdom. Yeah. We get wisdom. We glean wisdom too. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. You could share your name. I forgot to tell people to share their names. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What's that?
I forgot to tell people to share their names, but.
I'm Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. And I've been through two heroes' journeys. One was at 26, and one was 26 years later at 52.
See if you can pick one.
What's that?
For your share, just pick one. Yeah. Or if you combine them.
Oh.
Yeah. Just,
Well, they're very similar.
Okay. Good. Okay.
You know, at 26, I felt like I built the life that would make me happy, that I was told would make me happy. You know, I had a house, I had a car, I had a good job, I was making money, but I wasn't happy. And I had to destroy it all in order to get out of it. And that caused me to look at myself and my behaviors and my addictions and realize that it was going to take something else to make me happy. But I forgot. And 26 years later, I found myself in the same position, but I had to lose my partner, my job, my real estate, file bankruptcy, and realize again that those are not the things that are going to make me happy. And my ultimate truth is that, this isn't something that you do and then move on. And that's what I wanted it to be the first time. I still wanted to get rid of those shadow parts of myself. And, now I realize it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to get rid of them. You can see them.
Yeah,
for what
I've
they
got to
are.
own them.
Yeah.
I've got to own the shadow, and I've got to
see it for what it is.
See the beauty in them.
Yeah.
And realize it's an inside job. Nobody else is going to provide a relationship, money. That's not going to fix me.
Yeah.
And
anybody else? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's epic journey, right? Yeah. So now, how are you sharing? Because of all you've been through, what are you sharing? You're sharing your true self. You get to be your true self without having to be a lamb, right?
And like you said, I realized that the biggest pains that I went through in my childhood turned out to be the things that gave me the most strength to endure. And it makes me a warrior now. And I have a lot to offer because of that.
Yeah, so much.
I had to own it.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. I love that. We have time for one more. You guys want to go? Be brave. Life is asking you to step out.
So I am Steve, and I will share the end of my journey actually in the next one, because I want to build on what Chris said about the difficult things in your childhood, which for a long time I tried to outrun and did not face and deal with them. And once I did, then I was able to move on in the journey into a new way. And what's interesting is it really never ends, because I was interested in where mine ends is I've just become aware of like a new journey that's about to begin, like 2 months ago, literally. And it's scary and frightening, except it's exciting at the same time this time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know it will be okay to pursue it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know where it's going to lead, But there is a lot of, trepidation before we, as I start to move through. But, I don't know. I'm just excited about that, and it's interesting that the loop will continue on.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
Netflix
that's a really
season
good-
6 premieres right here.
Yeah. That's a really good insight too, because it doesn't always have to be like everything's falling apart. It could be like, hey, I'm stepping out in a whole new way. That's scary, just as scary sometimes. But as we've been through it a couple times in an unconscious way, now we're becoming more conscious. This is the great gift of this community, I believe, spiritual community here, is about it's called conscious living, right? And we're learning how to live more consciously. Then it doesn't have to be this horrible, sometimes it's challenging, but you can do it, you can move forward in a conscious way, and it can be kind of exciting. Like, what's the best adventures, right? The best adventures are the ones where you don't know what's around the corner. It makes it more exciting, right? Yeah. So, oh.
Carolyn Mace, M-Y-S-S?
Yes, I love Carolyn Mace, yeah.
Mace?
Yeah, Carolyn Mace. Mace.
She brought me through some challenges in my life. 3 words. Welcome the mystery.
Welcome the mystery. Welcome the mystery. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it can become exciting if you can do it in this conscious way, right? Yeah. Reverend, you want to give that to Eunice?
And then, on a global level or a cultural level,
Yeah.
we are right now in the midst of great, a lot of people call it the liminal season. We really
what?
don't know
Calling it the what?
how coming together as a culture, as a country. We are in a period that everything has been disrupted from the pandemic, and specifically, like how you do community, spiritual community. After 15 months of being online, everything is disrupted. We were just visioning, Steve and I, in our group, and we were just looking at this whole idea of like, here we are, everything is totally disrupted. What is next? And we're really not knowing what's next, but how do we now contain a whole new concept of it. So we're doing that in the culture. And we've never been through like we've been through the last year, right? Or
Right.
last 15 months.
Yeah.
Medically, politically, economically, I mean, in every area. And there's no books where you can study. There's no.
We don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are living in the great unknown right now.
Yeah.
So all the individual ways that we have been going through this hero's journey has built our capacity to withstand the anxiety and the discomfort of living in the unknown.
Yeah.
Which we are now, because we all are pioneers. We're going to create what this next way of being together in community in the world is. That's what's exciting me right now. And I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I could have said another word, but I didn't. Thank you, God. But, you know, that's where we are. You know, it's like, okay, can we be present enough and loving ourselves enough and each other? We talked a lot about the importance of being tolerant and patient with the learning curve.
That's huge.
Because we want everything to be.
With ourselves and others.
Yeah, with ourselves and others, that we can control the outcome. But we're like all toddlers. And when a little toddler's trying to learn to walk, they fall on their butts a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, but the parent doesn't chastise them for falling down. They just go, oh, look at, they're learning to walk.
Yeah.
So can we have that same kind of context with ourselves and each other while we navigate this real weird unknown that we're going through, you know? It's a collective hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Leave it to Reverend Eunice to make it relevant. I always say whenever I share about Reverend Eunice's shares, they're always relevant to what's going on within ourselves, within the world, and it is happening in the world, you know, on many levels, climate, political, so many things, so many unknowns. Scary, isn't it? But here's the wonderful thing. We don't have to do it alone. Community is more important, I think, than ever with all that we're going through, to have community, have people to help us along. We don't have to do this alone. Whatever your community is. I'd love for you to be a part of this community, of course, forever, but, you know. But it's like whatever community, whatever help, whatever helpers, you know, ask, like someone said, ask for help, you know, reach out. You know, we have each other. Did you want to share? I saw someone raise their hand.
I just wanted to share, I heard a really good acronym for...
Right, grab the mic. And then we'll close it. We'll have to close after that. Okay. We're going to close after.
I heard a really good acronym for fear, face everything and rise.
I've heard some other ones. Face everything and rise. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, face everything and rise. So we're on an epic journey. We're all on this epic journey. We're all telling the same stories in some way, shape, or form. So wherever you are on your hero's journey, whether you're in separation where things are falling apart, whether you're in initiation where things can be challenging and this amazing adventure, crazy adventure, you don't know what, you know, all the fears, everything. Or you're returning home, you've been through it, you've learned so much because you fought the greatest fears and the nemesis that usually is within ourselves. All in an effort to return us home. To what? To our true self, our soul. And in that place, we don't have to prove anything or defend anything to be who we are. It's our true, authentic self expressing in the world, and that's what the universe is yearning for us to do. And that's why quite often we do get tripped up by getting stuck somewhere and then finally everything has to fall apart. Because it's wanting you to express yourself in a greater way, to your true self in the world, you know? So to me, that's a huge part of the hero's just to return, where now I'm going to share my gifts, talents, qualities, attributes in the way that I was meant to. I'm not covered up anymore by the concrete over the gold, you know? Now we can share our gifts, talents, qualities, and attributes in the world and have much yet to be discovered, right? Much yet to be discovered. It's a hero's journey, right? So if you think about it, we're all so unique. If I look around, we all look so different, right? We're all such unique expressions of life. No two people on the entire planet, there's billions of people. Nobody looks like you, right? Exactly, nobody looks like you. Nobody has the same gifts, talents, qualities, or attributes in the way that you do. Nobody. You know, not one person is like you. The world, the universe needs us to share in the little ways, and also in big, amazing, wonderful, beautiful ways, unexpected ways. You see. So, thank you all for coming tonight. Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So I encourage you to continue writing. You know, you got this little format here, and you know, look at some more of those circles. You know, and write some more out. You'll be amazed what you remember, what you've been through. You know.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, come next week. Come see Jeff. So come Sunday, hear Reverend Eunice. She's amazing at 10:30 a.m. We have a 9 a.m. meditation here. 9:30 now. Now it's at 9:30. Okay, 9:30 a.m. Okay, cool. You could just give us our notepads back, and you could take the piece of paper and the pens and notepads over here, and take your worksheet with you. Thanks for all for coming. All right. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Yay.